Hello everyone, it's Leela.
And Beau.
And welcome back to my channel, or to my channel if it's your first time clicking on a video from my channel. Today we're here to discuss episode 3 of Boys Planet.
Yep.
Do a little recap, do a little review.
Yep.
If you like that sort of thing, please subscribe. We are here every Saturday for all of the journey of Boys Planet over the next few months.
Next 6 years.
The emotional roller coaster that we're on.
It's been good. It hasn't
Please
felt...
join us on this ride.
Yes.
You must be this tall to ride.
Yes, I think it's going to be
this
fun.
Emotional
Like,
roller
comment, subscribe.
coaster.
Please subscribe. She's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, please.
Which is an interesting number.
It is.
Because you get paid then. $10 a month. That's how much.
Okay. So today we're going to go through all the performances for this episode, our other highlights of things that happened on the episode, and then we're going to share our top 9s, both of our top 9s, and then I'm going to share my prediction top 9 of, like, if I were to guess today the final lineup of this group.
Yeah.
This is my best guess, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong on the end.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you. I'm sure. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. So how we begin?
Sure. Girls Reverse episode 7 was... Oh.
Nope. We're up to Girls Reverse episode 9, but we don't have recaps for that. So they had the whole thing this time where they like made teams for the first round so that G group and K group would each be performing a song, and then they're battling against each other, and who gets the most live audience votes wins points.
Yeah, Girls Planet, they did the same song versus, right? 48 didn't do that. I don't think so.
That's way too long.
They did. I think they did. Remember, they did the Boom Baya bad version and the Boom Baya good version.
Hell Baya.
Yeah, and they Hell Baya won.
Yeah.
It starts to become obvious in a show like this who is sticking out when you can see that picture and say who stuck. You just know who stuck out and who didn't. Some for good reasons, some for bad reasons. Obviously, in this one, Kong stuck out. It was interesting because they were discussing leadership at first. Kong said, no, I think we should have one leader. They wanted 3 leaders, one for dance, one for... It's like, okay, guys, listen to Kong.
Yeah, listen to Kong.
Always listen to Kong.
Is the theme of this episode. Listen to Kong, because the dance teacher said, what are y'all doing? You're a mess. And then follow Kong and listen to Kong, because he did really well.
Yeah, Kong and Uju was in charge, and a third guy, kind of. And the dance instructor, what's his name, who choreographed this, was like, it was so bad. He said, I apologize to you, basically.
He was being extra
like,
harsh.
I'm sorry that my choreography was below you. Like, it was almost that kind of a thing.
I didn't really get the vibes there, but he was being really harsh.
He was basically saying...
that I'm so sorry that I made something so difficult.
Or maybe,
that you can't do it right.
Yeah, that's probably more likely. But at the end of that tirade, he basically said, Kong, you and Wuju and the third person, I forget who it was, make sure you help them.
Yeah,
because
follow Kong.
Yeah, because it was pretty rough. It didn't look... you would have to know the dance to really see it, but you could see they're out of sync and stuff.
But by the time they got to the final performance, I think they pulled it together, and I would have never known. The way I watch these, which is the way that I think is a good way to watch the show, just a hot tip from a fan. I watch the performances that get put up on YouTube first with no context.
Oh, they're not even cut edits, are they? They're just...
They can be. And just watch them.
Yeah.
No, so you don't know the backstory.
You
don't know who you're supposed to be paying attention to. You're just watching it and
reacting.
Without any bias in your perceptions. Watch the performances first, and then go back and watch the episode, and you learn about what it took to get them here. Because I watched this and was just like, Kong hard carried, deadlifted this team, and he did so well.
But that's a good point.
I was shocked.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you don't want to spoil anything, but just the performance gives you that initial actual reaction without editing biases. But
if you were there watching it.
Yeah, so I agree. That's a great point or advice. Kong did great. Kong didn't. I didn't wake up to Kong until he got star.
He went
from
1
to 3.
Yeah,
and he's obviously not perfect. He has great facial expressions, but he has that thing where he kind of does his neck weird. He strains it here and there occasionally, but overall. He's doing like the Nako thing where it's just a glow up from one episode to the next, and he's from Vietnam. I want to see a Vietnamese
they
idol.
Paid so much of time and attention to the fact that he worked so hard to get his pronunciation right for the Signal song, and then this one as well. Like, I'm so proud of Kong. Like, he did so well.
He's got this. He's probably my favorite now, if not one of them, because because he's got the story. He came from a country with the language barrier that's pretty strong. The two types of language are very, very dissimilar. The pronunciation, the style. He worked on it, and simple work is going to get him far. After I don't know when we talk about the results of everything, but after seeing the results, I don't know if it's necessarily going to pay off and get him in the group or whatever. But I think somebody would be really wise to pick
in
him
the
up.
battle between these two, they didn't win, right? Yeah, they didn't win.
No, because K Group was just tighter.
Yeah, they were just tighter, and like Kong was the standout, and everyone else was like kind of
there was some
middle,
weird vocals,
and the poor Aju, like the guy. He's really passionate. He was help leading the dance. Like, he's been the leader of his team more than once. He just can't sing. The vocal skill isn't there. I don't know if he's just starting to learn to sing. And so that was like pretty obvious in the performance. So it kind of like cloudies it a little.
The singing's funny because you'll see a lot of these young guys and young women on the girls' shows. But as the young guys especially, they really, like they're, you can see them pushing it out like they're screaming, but they're trying to trying to sing. And over time, they'll learn the few tricks and stuff that'll smooth that out. Like where he can hit those high notes and he's not necessarily hurting himself. And some of these guys just have it where their voice is going to squeak too easy. They're not going to hit the note. They've got to learn some tricks. But Kong overall had a smoother delivery. His dance was crisp. He's also fun to watch. He's an interesting character. He's cute, but he's also got kind of a masculine face. You know, it's weird. He's just a nice, unique idol. I think he will be.
I don't have anything else to say on this.
Yeah, they were fun. It was a fun episode, or a fun song, too.
Yeah, I love that song. And then K Group's version of Aju Nice was like kind of like the super team of cutie pie, kind of like of fun cutie pies. And
Blue House. I mean, Red House. Cutie pies and Red House.
Red House, yeah. So we had Woongi, who you know that we, if you've listened to any of our episodes so far, you know that we love, and this is what he was made for. This is what Woongi was built for, is for cute songs like Aju Nice.
Yeah, and 17
and then too. They had Sungwon, who is just like one of the best main vocalists on the show and getting zero credit for it.
Yep.
And he just slayed.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely slayed. And then So On is so fun. We were like really starting to love So On.
But the stripes in his hair, that's Ali Sheedy. He's interesting. I don't know what it is about him. He's just fun. He's good. He's good on the camera.
He's got a great attitude.
He's very pretty.
Yeah,
handsome but pretty. He's got an effeminate look to him, but he's dynamic when you've put the camera on him. He's real expressive. He's real empathetic towards other people. He's
him and Woongi are like besties and roommates.
But he doesn't feel like he's trying for the camera that much. He's just naturally on camera.
There's just some people that are that way, you know, and I love that.
But it was interesting in this group, the worst one was Red House. And he would be the worst one in almost any group because he's so new to it, to give him a hard time.
Yeah,
they gave him some cute little stuff to do. They put him in the back a bit, and he
like if I didn't know the difference, if I didn't know any of the backstory about him, and I'd never seen my house performance or anything like that, just watching this, like he pulled it off. Our man pulled it off, and he had cute solo parts and stuff. Like he did really well, and then. He had kind of like the mid-tone rapping area, so he found an area
like maybe
that I think
rap is his,
maybe that's what he should
go because he's got
for.
A lower voice,
so it's a little bit like less strenuous, I guess, than singing. But they just really pulled it all together in the end, and then they won.
He reminds me of I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, in Pentagon, you know, the rapper who's tall and has the spoken rap. Yeah, he's this big, huge guy, and he's kind of surrounded by a bunch of cuties sometimes. You know,
no, he's not the big one. Pentagon
who's the one with the big deep rap who kind of talk raps a lot is yeah. Anyway, he reminds me of that. He's kind of a big hulking guy. He's not hulking, but he's a big deep voice and stuff. And on a team like this, he really stood out. But it fit well. They obviously did, but I think, like I said, they were just tighter. On the other team, you just really remember Kong and what's his name. A couple of them on this team.
Really
they
just
all.
Kong.
It's not that you really remember them all, but they all just evenly performed. So I see why they won. But at the same time, Kong got a lot of airtime. It was a great story. So he's my dude, man.
They were really fun.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had the Kill This Love teams. First was G Group of, like I said, I watched these before I watched the show.
Superhero team, man.
And I didn't even know, I didn't know who the teams would be. And I was just like, look at my faves. Look at my faves. They're all together. Look at them go. They are insane. They're so, this team, Kata is brilliant. Kata built this team. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. It's so good.
So you had Kata, the Japanese superstar.
Yes.
Who can do anything. Min, I can't remember Min's stuff as much.
He doesn't get very much attention.
Matthew, of course, is an all-arounder, but is struggling a bit here and there, I think.
Not struggling. I think
not struggling, but he's not quite.
He went out for every part and didn't get them. So
I know, but he's
also
lines. He has to still his voice personally as a idol, but performatively, I think he needs to find his voice a little more. Which one? Who's the acrobat? Is it
Kwanji?
Kwanji is so fascinating to me. I didn't put him on a top 9 spoiler, although I wanted to, but I'm really keeping an eye on him because the life of somebody who gets up at 3 years old and gets that skilled. And then they had him just memorize the moves. You thought, oh, he's showing off by doing the stretch. No, that's how he probably stays that limber.
He was doing this wild no bone stretching thing that he does, which is just crazy.
While he was watching and then memorized it.
Yeah, they said that he learns the choreography by watching it, in the video of it, and then taught the team. So they had a really good dance teacher.
I mean,
and he taught them all and did a really good job.
There's certain people in the world who, through training or through natural ability or whatever, have perfect pitch, have blah blah blah. We having the ability to hit the harmony of anything instantly. It's just a talent you either develop or have. And Kwanji, while I don't necessarily know that, because we haven't seen enough from him yet, I don't even know if he raps or sings or what. I really don't know his abilities.
He did a little bit of rap. He didn't have a whole lot of lines, but he did a little.
Right, because he's got this character of this acrobatic. He had the stick, the staff, and he was really. If he doesn't make it in the group, I don't think he will. He's the type of person that I'd be like, I want to see what he. I look him up on YouTube. He does too,
yeah.
Like the twins, when they didn't make it in the group for Girls Planet, we looked them up, and they have this whole fun stage show thing. So and then who's violin?
Jung Hao.
I'm sorry, I'm always confusing him. He's obviously.
He's just so good.
He might be number one in the whole thing, I think.
He's so good.
I think the fact that he's violent.
He just got it all. And he was being really, really. He wasn't.
Supportive
was he the team leader?
Nice.
I think.
No, but he's always supportive.
But he was super supportive, and he was making them all feel. He was talking to men and trying to.
But did you notice he said when what's his name was upset that one time? I think it was him, wasn't it? Where he said, "I decided to tell him, don't make a decision so fast. Wait." Was that him saying it? I believe. Anyway, he's done that before, where he's. It's probably from being a teacher or something. He knows how to talk to a younger person, or just say, "Let's calm down. Let's take a deep breath." That's something you want in an idol. He's not as flashy as the other guys.
He's very mature. Yeah, very, very mature.
So the non-flashy guys don't often get all the votes and stuff, but he's people like that are there's 15 on this show that are made for the stage. He's one of them. So.
One of my other underrated faves is Wang Jihao. He's just such a natural dancer and just.
He was the crumper, right?
No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
I just like I like this team so much. I like this team so much.
This to me was an Avengers team.
This was so good.
People made a big deal about Hui's team, which is they were good, but this team has this kind of raw talent. I think that.
They're just such an interesting combination too.
Yeah, and Kata kept him calm on the stage because he's so calm on the stage. He's he's done it before, but also he's good at emoting this stuff because they did more of a melodic harmony version. There is harmony in the song, and the other team we'll talk about had less people, so the harmonies weren't as strong. I think this felt more like an artistic interpretation. The other one felt more like a boy group doing a girl song. This one was a bit more feminine. The moves were a bit more.
This one you probably wouldn't even have guessed this was a girl group song, and we're not the biggest Blackpink fans or anything, so I'm not naturally disposed towards liking this song, but I think their interpretation of it was really good.
To be fair, Blackpink often does a lot of heavy beats
it's very anthemic, very, very big anthemic songs. And that's why if you don't do them well, you can really have a hell by all situation.
It sounds weak.
You know? But they did it justice. They like had that big theatrical like thing. So I love them all so much.
They were great. It was a great team.
So much.
They could be a team right there, a group.
K-Group's Kill This Love team were part of, you know, when they were picking teams, this was getting down towards where like most were already picked. And so Hwan Hee, who is the member on the far left here, he's a member of Attention. He was like, it was his turn to like pick a team. And so Gunwook had been like having his eye on him and went to him and told him like, this is what we'll do. Trust me. Pick me and the rest of the Jellyfish Boys, who he is teammates with, you know, and we'll do Kill This Love. Trust me. And was like really, really begging him to like do that so they would be together and like do this. So it was kind of like, you know, Hwan Hee made the group, but not really Gunwook kind of made the group.
If Gunwook had not been Korean, they would have edited it evilly. He looked like he was berating him. At one point, literally physically dragging him over. Yeah. I'm not saying he was. I think Gunwook is just a headstrong young man. Yeah.
He just knew what he wanted, you know.
Yeah, but maybe he should have listened to the guy who's already in the group a little more. I don't know, because they didn't. Spoiler alert: they didn't win.
Right.
Because what they did is they tried to do the powerful version of Kill This Love, which is an obvious thing, and they did a great job. Don't get me wrong. But I think with the less members, it just came off maybe a little weaker. I don't know. Maybe it had the harmonies weren't enough. Everybody in this group is really good too. Gunwook is a natural talent, you know. But
only Gunwook and Hwan Hee really stood out to me in this. Gunwook because he's just one of those. You just can't help but look at him, and he's just so big and like expressive and powerful dancer, like everything. And then Hwan Hee. He's a pretty good main vocal. They spent a lot of time this episode like talking to and about him and like stuff and
kind of. Why was he messing up? He's a pro at this stuff. Like, come on.
And I thought it was like really. I don't want to use the word sad. What's the right word?
When he was kind of failing and stuff a lot.
Yeah, that he mentioned that like when he's with a group, he's fine. Like he can do it, but if he's alone to perform alone.
You think that was him talking about his own group?
No, he was talking about that, like in doing the Signal song part where you're alone.
Yeah.
And doing that stuff, he really flubbed it, you know, because he said like from being critiqued really hard when he performs alone, he's terrified of performing alone. He's been in the industry for like 7 years.
You know,
but performing alone made him really, really scared. And he described it like literally using the word, it's like a trauma, he said.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so he just gets real scared and like...
He's a good kid, but I think he's much more talented than he was. He needs to be more confident.
He's a good main vocal.
He needs to be more confident.
He's feels like he's not as strong at dance or whatever. And then Gunwook just said, just hide behind me. You will be fine. And I thought that was funny that he said that because it's so true. Like,
right, but it didn't
just
work.
Hide behind me.
But it didn't work.
Well, it's not... They didn't lose because they aren't good. They lost because the other team was just so stacked.
Yes, but
the other team was just so stacked.
We talked about this, and
so good.
I do wonder if Gunwook, and I think this is a good thing because he is a kid. He's 17. He needs to learn he's might be a little one note at this point, and he's going to learn other things. But I think he's a good kid. I think he's a little cocksure and a little headstrong and stuff. Where he is. He's going to run into this show will run you into a wall quick, especially when your numbers start dropping. You know, like you just don't get what you thought you should have got. In this case, he didn't win. I think he won the individual battle up. But anyway, I do wonder if he's a one note kind of kid, and this showed me that he might be relying too much on that. But at the same time, you're 17, and everybody around you, including the masters, are saying, we love your power and stuff. You're gonna lean into that. Yeah. So what my hope for him, because although he's not on my top 9,
this was just like them losing this will just be like a little bump in his journey on this.
Of course, he's still obviously really popular.
It's just like part of his character growth. Like afterwards, he was really disappointed in himself and everything, and
he was crying.
It's like it's okay, yeah. And like we hadn't seen anything from him other than just like real confidence. So like seeing a little bit of emotional depth and like. you know, like appreciate that.
Which side note,
he's a sweetheart. I love
it's
him
a
still.
really good thing that this show and other shows like this at least allow young men to cry, to show true emotion. Because I'm from Midwest. I'm from Texas, USA, and if I could tell you how much I hear since I was a kid that boys don't cry, it literally you could get beat up for that stuff back in the day. You know, I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying, so it's good. But I like this whole team. I like him particularly a lot, but he's going to have to grow. There
was just no way anyone would beat that. And I'm really glad a G group team won, because you win the points in front of a live audience in Korea that is probably majority Korean fans. That they picked the G group team over that made, like, I'm thankful for that, because
I was thinking
it feels
that too.
to me like a little bit of an advantage.
It's a much bigger advantage if you're in the United States. You're going to have mostly United States citizens voting on you. But yeah, I thought the same thing too.
So they left us on a cliffhanger with the EXO Love Me Right teams. We got to see G group. They're saving K group for next week. K group has Hui as the main vocalist, so that's the main.
Well, it's the main vocal battle.
This is the main vocal battle, doing an EXO song, which I am a huge EXO fan. I love this song. I have very strong opinions. Like, you really win me over doing this song because I freaking love it. This team, such a good team, incredibly good team. Hong Hai made this team because he got so many fan cam views.
The blonde guy in the front here, no, on the back. Is he in the front?
Yeah, he's our other Vietnamese contestant.
He's good too.
He had so many fan cam views. He got to build his own team, and he picked them. He picked Anthony. He picked Jay. Like, it's
a good variety team.
And when he was picking the teams and he picked Haruto, that was like the cutest thing. Haruto is such a delightful person.
He's turned into a really clever little...
He's kind of winning me over a little. Like, he was really cute. He was like, oh, this is a really good team. They need a dancer. You should pick me. And then he actually picked him. And then he, like, did hearts as he was running across the thing. And then it was so cute. It was really cute. I love that.
Yeah.
Haruto. But what?
Never mind. The interesting thing, and you were listening to EXO last night.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this.
This sent me down an EXO rabbit hole.
I was sitting down. I was thinking about this the other day, where you had EXO, who was the top of the food chain in K-pop for many years, before BTS came along and turned it into something else, or at least brought it to places that K-pop had never been. Yeah. Sure, K-pop had been in the United States. You know what I mean? What's interesting, though, when you sometimes compare EXO to BTS, you don't say EXO has more talent or anything like that. It's just that BTS is doing more hip-hop, more rap.
Yeah.
EXO, some of their songs were the epitome of boy group to me. Your 2000s kind of stuff, where it's like, girl, oh, girl. You know, that
especially
kind of
this song. Like, this is such a boy group song.
Exactly. And then they did some other more experimental stuff. But BTS started to do that stuff, but then COVID happened, where they were doing different stuff. COVID happened, and they did all the English songs, which I hated those. But anyway, so I always wonder, why didn't EXO be the BTS? Why didn't they come in after? Label problems, COVID, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that when I saw this group, I thought to myself, what K-pop might need right now is a return, for boy groups at least. Girl groups are doing this crazy, all sorts of stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
Boy groups might want to return to that 2000s era, girl.
Melodic.
Yeah, because right now what they're doing is, here's a cutesy song, and then the next song they're vampires, which is cool, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you have a generic quality to a lot of the boy groups lately. Yeah. Not that there's a lot of good ones.
Boy groups. The new ones, really. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying, to where that's why there's no male rookie of the years at the awards ceremony. And I'm not saying the rehashing the past is a fresh idea, but when you look at an Andy, I combined Jay and Anthony for some reason. You look at an Jay, you look at an Anthony, you look at this group, more so like Jay and Hong Hai and like Haruto, that could be a picture of EXO from back in the day in a way. Mm-hmm. Not that they're looked at, but you know what I'm saying. There's a quality there that they might bring back vocalizing, singing, a singing group.
Please.
To where I understand you have to. I'm
literally begging you.
You have to lip sync one. I understand that, and it's not that, but
it's not about live. I don't even care if it's live. Just give me some like good vocals.
But you can watch EXO's live stuff, big concerts in Korea in like 2017 or something, or 16. Yeah. It's huge concerts, and they're obviously live a lot. Yeah, yeah. Especially Bacon and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's parts where they backing track. That's fine, but I think that might be the answer that I would like to see this group. I was thinking, what do I want them to do? I don't want them to get this group and say this is another space theme, or this is another vampire group, or guess what? This time they're lumberjacks or whatever. It's like, let them be a boy group with the whole silly girl, because that's what Jay is. Jay is a perfect girl. You know, I'm here to say I love you, girl. You know, he looks like a. You kids out there who might be listening to us old people, you might be too young for this. He looks like a poster from 2004 or 96 of like Backstreet or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got that smirk.
He would be my New Kids on the Block bias.
Right.
You know,
but there's nothing wrong with that. That's where the boy bands came from. Well, they came from earlier stuff in R&B and stuff. But what I'm saying is that this group, I think, turned me on, quote unquote, because I think that and this song, they're leaning more towards that thing that I think could stick for the. Now, we know what happened with Kepler, though, is because it was not rigged, quote unquote, other than editing and stuff. I believe they didn't rig it. They had the law looking at them.
Yeah.
They didn't have the pre-preparation time they did with 48 and the other ones. That's why Eisman was so incredible from the go.
You're really off topic.
No, what I'm saying is that they might have that same problem with this kind of thing, but a group like this, with a character like Jay, that are doing that, I wonder if they're starting to think, you know, or if that's in their head at all. Let's make like an old school boy group.
Please.
You know, wouldn't that be fun? Like,
but like back to just this performance or whatever, like Jay has been like climbing up my bias list. This launched him into #1 place. I'm sorry, Anthony, I still love you. But Jay is like my one pick at this point in time just because of this, because his vocals are so refreshing and so strong.
Clear.
And that is what I love in groups. Like, that is like my favorite thing.
Yeah, but
style, like with some style and some coolness, and like just the vocals are just there. Like, I love it.
Ironically,
he just killed this. And the storyline was that he's taking the main vocal role. He was taking the center role.
Killer part.
And Wumudi was going to take the main vocal. Yeah. And Wumudi was like, I cannot go against the main vocal of Hui. Please, Jay, save me. And he said, okay, that's fine. And so the storyline was the two of them together. And like, to think that anybody could even come close to rivaling Hui. Like, maybe that Sunghoon kid, honestly.
Hold on now.
Is like kind of crazy. Yet, but yeah. Like, I couldn't even like imagine that would occur in this show.
Yeah.
The fact that it has is like kind of amazing. And then when they were in the practice and with the teachers or whatever, like Jay does it exactly the way that Dio does it in the original song. Like, he does it exactly the way it like is. But Hui did it, and he does it like again, like he has an amazing voice. But he throws in a little bit of flair that is that signature of his voice and his style that, to me, as it's like very huge EXO fan, I felt like, no, you're missing the mark. Like, when you do that, you take a song that is a R&B boy group pop song, and you make it like a soul with a little bit of a rock vibe. It just in my brain it just goes no. So for me, I was like, we do it the way Dio does.
Well,
stop.
And funny enough, but, when they're sitting before they start, they're just making the lineups. We hits the note,
and he does it the same way.
He does it perfectly, like Jay. Like, trust me, he could sing Jay.
Of course, I know that's not the question.
The reason people like Jay is he's half Korean. He's like American, basically. So he's like got that.
I like him for his skills.
I know.
I don't care.
But they
about
also
the rest
like
of
his skill. There's
a
lot of reasons.
He could be from anywhere, and I would like him.
No, I'm not saying his skill. But what I'm saying is that he has this sudden charm. Like, he just came out of nowhere for people, right?
Yeah.
Hui has that style we've heard before, and we might have seen it before. But I'm predicting right now, the performance will come out. We will destroy him. As far as technical ability, he'll also hit that note cleanly, but then he'll improv at the end. But overall, I think the vibe of this group will still win him over. Because Jay and of course Anthony, although Anthony's notes were a little shaky here or there, he has a good...
it's hard to say, like, if the audience votes in this round winning, like, what if half that audience are Pentagon fans? Like, of course they're gonna he's gonna win over Jay, who nobody really knows.
Like you said, though, with trying to crank up the rock or the R&B a bit on it, that might make their performance a little bit more, quote unquote, kind of serious. Fresh? No, what I'm saying, serious, like more adult. This felt like
fresh,
bright and cheery without being like kid-like. And they had, of course, some cuties in there and stuff. But then you have Jay come in there. He's like the quarterback. Yeah. He nails it. You know, this just felt better to me. But I haven't seen Weezo. So I'm just saying that if they lose, I'll be surprised. But if they do, I think it'll be so close.
It's a toss-up.
Because this was just fun.
Yeah. And just a couple of seconds for Anthony. We love Anthony. We've been rooting for him this whole time and saying he's got good vocals and skills. When they were in the practice room when they were in the practice, he sounded really good.
There's that nice mid-tone.
Live, it was a little shaky. I think that his just like wild singing needs some work, just stamina wise. It sounded like that was the like.
Well, we were saying too that if you watch Jay, Jay. We're talking about Anthony. I know, but I'm saying that if you watch Jay, when he hits his notes, he pulls back physically a bit with the dancing. Yes, nobody harped on about because he gets a job done. Correct. I think that Anthony being maybe in K-pop longer, I guess, maybe being in training or something. No. Maybe he thinks you have to hit it hard.
Anthony hasn't been in longer.
Well, whatever.
Jay's been in longer.
Whatever, but has he done the same kind of dancing sing style?
Anthony's in way less than Jay. Jay's been at it for like 4 years.
Anthony might think that he has to hit it hard the whole time. He needs to learn to do what Jay.
I think Anthony needs to just work on his stamina and stuff. I still love him. I think he did good.
He's all of 95 pounds.
But it did like stand out just a tad. But anyway,
fantastic.
Still, it was so good.
It was fun.
So good.
That's a viral moment too.
Yeah. Just other little things that happened in the show that I wanted to call out if we haven't talked about them already. A lot of it we already have talked about. Keita being a good leader to his team. Yeah, we've talked about most of this already.
We didn't talk about Keita being a great leader, really. He just was. He just is.
So from the teams that haven't performed yet, they showed a little bit of the practice ahead of time. Ji-woong is the leader of his team. They're doing Backdoor Stray Kids. He's like being just like super diplomatic.
Talking about Dracula, right?
Yeah.
You know,
he was like, you know what? I'm not here to tell you guys what to do. You know, like I'm gonna like I appreciate you guys. Like he was just like being like super
maybe that comes from acting and interacting with a crew and stuff or something.
No, but he's been an idol before.
I know, but he's very aware of the camera. You know, he's very aware of the camera. I'm not saying he's fake at all. I think he just knows. Keep calm, chill out. Yeah. Let's just, he sat through long shoots.
He has a calming presence. To
he's fantastic. He's fantastic.
He's got a calming presence.
He'll be a really unique idol.
We've talked about I want to talk about Christian last. Jay and Hui we talked about. Ye-dam is roommates with Hui, Gyuvin, and Hanbin, and they were like playing games in their room, and it was so funny. Yeah. Ye-dam is just like
he's
a natural comedian. He is such a delightful kid. I love him.
He's great.
They also showed in the dorms, Keita had a class of the G group members from all over the place, teaching them Korean. My heartstrings.
Yeah, on a little desk.
Oh my God, just tugging my heartstrings. Keita, best boy.
But you know how handy that is, how good that is.
It's so sweet that he was just like, everyone sit down, I'm going to help you teach you guys Korean. Like, he's such a sweetheart.
He's a good kid.
Anyway, it kills me. Yeah. And Bak Do-ha and his roommates, he's like such a like gym rat, like muscle head. you wouldn't tell really by looking at him because he's kind of tall and slender, but he's a total gym rat.
Yeah,
so he had them all doing push-ups and crap. It just really made me laugh.
That's what idols are doing.
Just really made me laugh. I was like, no, he's just all muscle, nothing going upstairs.
Maybe he wanted to take that shirt off, get a couple votes going.
Hell yeah, he did. So we'll end it on the low note of we got our first true evil edit of the series.
I don't think it was evil. I think Christian's mean. And I think he was being mean to that person, and he should make him apologize.
I had nothing to say about Christian since the show started, even though before the show I was really excited to see Christian. He's been given nothing. He's been given crumbs, like zero screen time, nothing.
Give it time.
So the first time they give him any screen time is his G group team. I forget their song.
What was it?
It's Na Camden, who's American, who speaks English and Korean, and the other members, the other 4 or 5, are all Chinese, and Christian speaks English and Chinese and a bit of Korean, a little bit. So their team, when they were together, they voted Camden as the leader, which is, to me, not the choice when in a G group situation where everyone's like struggling through language barrier, you need to go with someone who can help the most in that area.
Yeah.
Instead of the one man out who can't speak Chinese or whatever.
Yeah. They should have just went Christian.
Honest to God. I mean, we didn't see all that, but that's just my opinion. So Christian was trying to talk to the other members in Chinese to work out like parts and stuff. And in doing so, he was kind of like ignoring Camden's commentary and not translating every little thing because they were just trying to talk amongst themselves with the Chinese members, because there's like 2 or 3 Chinese members of that team who literally don't even speak Korean or anything else.
Yeah, the one guy said, I want to go out for that part. How do I even sing it? It's like, why do you want to go out for that part then? But yeah.
So they like there's like no middle ground for them to meet each other.
But
it's like really hard.
Here's what I think was
hard.
happening other than evil editing. It was probably barely even in the editing. It's hard to say. When you go watch, if a politician meets another politician and they're going to talk about peace terms or something like that, they will have their translators whispering into their ear, literally, sitting there. I've seen it. I've saw interviews of people. I think Christian was literally real-time translating in a way, the leader a little bit, but also getting caught up in the Chinese conversation. He was not, I think he did overspeak a little bit. He ignored him a few times. But again, I don't think there was anything
malicious.
Even when he said in the clip, the famous part was, "Hey, don't rush." I think he was talking to the leader, but I think he was also kind of generally talking to everybody, but kind of forgetting, they don't speak English, and he maybe said that in Chinese. I don't know. Somebody who speaks Mandarin or Chinese or whatever can go in there and see it and break it down. It was absolutely. I bet you they just tweaked a little small part, and it messed up the whole rhythm of the conversation to make it seem like he was trying to take over. Maybe he was, because he is a bit of a headstrong guy. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he is a bully. I don't know. We don't know enough, but I doubt it. I think it was completely evil editing, but the leader was still crying.
Camden did get his feelings hurt by the situation.
But
he did legitimately get his feelings hurt. But at the same time, like, I'm telling you, like,
I
you have to respect the situation that you're in, and like, I'll
bet you anything, if we go and watch the part where he's talking and crying about being frustrated and stuff, he doesn't specifically mention Christian or mention that. Maybe it was from a whole other conversation. Because by the way, viral thing that went around for a while, there is a moment where Blue House is hitting his, and the song guy is wincing, like, the vocal coach, and Blue House is sitting right behind him.
Yeah.
So they will literally pull a clip. They're not afraid of pulling a clip from a whole other section.
Yeah.
So I'll bet you anything, I'd have to check it, that when Camden was talking about it, it wasn't talking about this situation. He was talking about some random other thing. He was just frustrated about being away from mom or whatever. And they put that in there. That is the kind of stuff that, to me, the problem with that is you're already separating K from G. You're saying Korean and everybody else. I understand it's K-pop. It's the best thing in the whole world.
Let's not get into this.
But what I'm saying is that you don't want that othering to go on in G group itself. You don't want G group to start saying, I'm from America, you're from China, I'm from Canada. You're fracturing, you're splitting hairs.
I made the prediction before the show even started that there would be a C group candidate that would get evil edited. I initially predicted Ricky because of his RBF, but Ricky is from a respected label, Yuhua, so they wouldn't do that to him.
They're huge.
Christian is an independent trade. He's not connected to any company in Korea, so they picked him to evil edit. And that is such bull crap.
Now, first of all, like what happened to, you go up, but you go down, blah, blah, blah. What's her name? I'm forgetting her name, sorry.
Fuyani.
She came back and was glorious, but the damage, I think, was done. That you had to convince people then that she was being nice. They had to overdo the positive edits. She had to overact how positive she was.
So I was like, I can't believe how obvious you guys are doing.
The hurtful part to me is that we all are from different countries and areas of the world, and there's political strife, and we all know that. But these kids are just kids trying to get into the same Korean thing. Mm-hmm. The Korean crew and editors don't need to make an enemy of somebody who's not Korean. We don't. It feels a bit
bad.
Racisty and
feels
stuff.
A bit bad.
Xenophobic. Let's not do it to China. I know China, but do you know what I mean?
I knew they would do it. I knew they would do it. I didn't expect early that it would be Christian, but I'm also not surprised because, again, the RBF and just his visuals, he's kind of a bigger guy. They can just like take it, and I'm just disappointed. I
agree, 100%. Don't do. We don't need that.
Let's move on.
Nobody, as in Girls Planet, nobody asked for that.
This is our top 9s right now. I'll go through mine first.
Mine are superior, obviously.
I'll go through mine real fast.
Now, mine might not be in the perfect order. So
here's how I think about my top 9 right now. That the top 9 that we talk about for the show is different than the top 9 that I'm voting for every day. My votes are going towards like some different people, But this is like, if I were to build the group today.
Yeah.
This is the 9 members that I would make the group
fantasy
out of.
pick.
Jay is my number 1.
Now, hold on. When you're doing your fantasy pick, are you also trying to couch it with a little reality, or are you just like, screw it, this is my fantasy pick?
So I was sitting there thinking,
I want number 60.
Am I being realistic or trying to be right, or is this my heart believes in this? And no, my heart actually believes in this.
Oh, okay.
So Jay, I love Jay. I love Jay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna okay.
Anthony, Matthew, Keita, you know how I feel about him.
75% success.
Juhyun has come up in my fave list. He's the really loud one.
I think he's in.
What I said to Beau earlier today, and I mean it, like if this group debuted today, despite Jay being like my one pick and Anthony being my bias since before the show, my bias in this group would be Juhyun.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is the chaotic energy. He's got the skill. Like they overplayed last time his vocal struggles because he literally did blow his voice out screaming. But once that he got over that and he was singing again, both in the dorm rooms and in the practice, he sounds great.
From the beginning he could sing. We could hear it in that group, but it wasn't
in the
as
first
obvious.
Practice. He was doing the struggle because he literally had blown his
he
voice
was trying to vomit out his soul to everybody. It was like, dude,
crazy.
Calm down.
Like he is just the type of idol that I gravitate towards. He is delightful. He's skilled. He's just not afraid of anything. He's so outgoing. That kind of person I just really love. I love that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person, so people like that, I just love them. Jiwoong, of course. Gungwook, I still am rooting for him. He's still my boy. And then the number ones, Hanbin and Jonghao. I think if I really sit down and tell myself, yes, he's a package deal with Sock Matthew. You cannot have them separated.
You were saying that is true, but
and if I really sit down and I think this team needs the two of them, so I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm on board. You want to talk through yours?
I like your picks. I think you don't need to worry about reality so much and go a little more fantasy.
But I really like them.
But no, I'm down for that team.
If they didn't debut, there would be something lacking. So
this is a great team. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's not as good as mine, but
okay, go ahead.
Because you don't even have Kong in yours. Kong is
the only difference is Kong and Woongi.
Kong is the American dream if it's in Korea. It's like the Korean dream. He's coming from Vietnam. He overcame language barriers, pronunciation barriers. His spirit is good. He's a hard worker. His vocals aren't bad. His dancing is fantastic. He's just going to get better. Keita is Keita. He's been doing a lot. I mean, just give him a chance.
The only difference in your lineup is Kong and Woongi.
What do you mean?
Between yours and mine.
Oh yeah, you don't have Woongi. You have
No, I sat down and with my heart, in my heart, I love Woongi. I've been voting for him every day. And
who is Jiwoong again? Jiwoong is smoldering.
Vampire.
I have him too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still voting for Woongi, but like in the realistic picture of like this debut group, do I must have him? No.
Hey, first of all, it's my group turn. But secondly, because you abandoned the brightest joy in the universe, okay, for Juhyun we talked about him, but Juhyun, if to explain his energy, if you not current J-Hope, although that is a fantastic, J-Hope is still fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? Early J-Hope where man. The guy was a maniac. His rap style is still maniac, but he's a bit more... You can't go through everything BTS goes through and not be more mature and serious. But he's still hilarious. He can sing and dance and rap. Juhyun's that guy.
Yeah.
Woongi is... I also want different types of people in this group. I also want somebody who's not the straightest seeming person. I want that energy in there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great energy. But I think he's really talented. Anthony, of course... was never anything to me. He was always to you, but I think he's got this all-rounder kind of aspect to him. He's not,
so unique.
He's unique. There's nobody else like him.
There's no one else like Anthony.
Matthew is funny because Matthew looks like Rurika from One. He's adorable, but he's also good looking.
Rurika was one of my early one picks for girls.
So adorable.
But I abandoned her because I'm very fickle.
We still like her. She's cute. He's a rabbit. And
Weiss songs.
I like that he's not the best at everything yet, but he's starting.
Darn good.
He's good. He's really good.
Damn good.
Jay is definitely not my pick because of the kind of not cheesy, but like I'm not cheesy. The smirky quality that guy.
He doesn't smirk.
Listen,
that's just his face.
Listen, don't. He's not in the group yet. But I want to tell you something. He came onto the show being that. Yeah. I'm Jay. Smile, girl, woo, girl. Everybody's like, oh, he's American. It's so cool to be from America, right? He came on the show. And now, if you look at him, he was a bit. You could see him in the team. Mm-hmm. You can tell there's some Korean he's missing maybe a little bit.
I don't know about that.
I think there's a little. He seemed a bit quieter, confused, a little scared. He had a crying moment.
Yeah.
I don't know in this episode, last episode.
Yeah.
He's not as sure. Mm-hmm. He's getting ready to go up against the best singer and most senior guy at the whole show.
Yeah.
Who is not afraid to show up. He's not afraid to destroy this kid. Not in a mean way, but and he's showing a bit of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But then you get to the essence of what's making him good is his voice, but also his ability to emote in his voice. It's not just a note. He has some feeling there. So he's got to be in the group. I think he's not going to necessarily even be the only good singer, but he's going to be the star in a lot of times. Ji-woon is the actor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you need somebody to sparkle on the stage through the lines because he's a vampire. There's something interesting. Seeing him as a leader really sells it for me. He's a real sweet kid.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be an interesting thing in there.
Yeah, he could end up being the leader maybe.
Like that kind of aspect. But and Jung Hao is. I mean, it just breaks my heart to think that because he's Chinese, he's not going to get nearly as many votes because there's so few votes.
He
for the
seems to be doing okay.
He does, but because he's kind of like palatable to a lot of people.
We're all just still recovering. We're also going through the trauma of what happened to Xiaoting.
No, what happened to Richie and all that stuff.
Even more so Xiaoting, like our beautiful, unproblematic queen. To watch her barely scrape her way into Kepler was just really, really upsetting and like.
Well, to see no other Chinese members get in there.
I have a little trauma.
Again, I'm not getting into this. She's the most palatable of the Chinese people to the Korean voters,
and
whatever.
Jung Hao's the most
That's what I'm saying. It's not his fault, and it's not her fault for being, quote unquote, acceptable to some people who aren't willing to vote for Chinese people. But he's also extremely talented, extremely smart. The violin thing will come into play in so many ways. He can play on a track. He can play on a concert.
If God forbid, but if he doesn't debut here, he's got to somewhere else. Like someone must snatch him. He is a gem.
It's weird because
he's a diamond.
It's weird because you can have these shows that are looking for an idol. So I understand that you have people who are a diamond in the rough, who are nervous, who cry a lot, whatever. But then you have these people who are like, these are people who are on the path to idol. He is one of them.
Let's move to talk about my prediction. So
okay, I think I'll probably agree with you. This is who you think will make it.
This is my prediction based off of the following factors. Screen time. The top 9 live votings that we've seen the first 3 episodes. That represents really well the Korean audience picks. Mainly those 2 factors.
No, that's not a bad factor.
So this is like if I'm going to predict it, and this is me predicting it realistically, but also with a tinge of optimism that we could get 3 whole members from G Group into the team. I think realistically, we might end up with only 2.
Red is G Group, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
realistically we might only get 2, but I hope we can get 3. So here's where I'm at. Hanbin, obviously. Ji-woon, obviously. Gyuvin is getting the Korean votes and has been in top 9 in all of the live episode voting. Like, they like him a lot for some reason. I don't think he's bad. I just, for me, it's not there. Gunwook, I think he'll get there. He'll get the die-in treatment before the end of the show. We'll be at his mom's house. Like, I think that he's going to get it. Yeah. Okay. He's from Jelly. They already showed it. Like, we'll get there. Han Yujin, again, the Korean audience voted. He's been in the top 9 every single time. Like, they love him.
The teens are going for
him.
They
love him.
The little 13-year-olds and stuff.
Tae-ri is also pulling some votes from the Korean audience.
He's a good singer.
He's very, very, very good.
All these guys are good, except for you, Jen.
So, like, I'm not mad at that.
No.
But I think that he might be in. Matthew, I think, is pretty close. Jung Hao, yeah, if we only get 2, it's going to be Matthew and Jung Hao, and then the 9th slot would go to another K group member who's going to come out of nowhere in the next couple episodes. You're saying... But if I'm being optimistic, Jay could come in. Jay could make it all the way. If I'm being really optimistic. But also, I think this is somewhat realistic. So we'll see.
I think it might...
We'll see.
I think it... Normally, I think you'd expect to see more Japanese members than anything in there. But I don't know.
Who's the standout?
That's
other
what I'm saying. Other than Keita, who are the standouts in the J group? Because
I love Keita. Maybe Keita takes the spot of Jay. I don't know. But I just
because you're essentially predicting.
I don't know.
What's interesting about this, which I think I agree could happen, and I'm not mad if it happens. It's a good group. other than Eugen, but he's a baby, so he can grow, whatever. Is what's interesting about this is it's kind of looking more at the quote unquote West, which I hate that term, but whatever, America and Korea connection. With Jay and Matthew, Canada, U.S. That's kind of interesting, and then you have China in there just to kind of help with that. Hopefully, get at least one C group member. But so I kind of think that's interesting instead of normally it was always Japan and Korea. 48 was that.
I don't think that Keita is a standout, but I refuse at this point to get my hopes up. But he is a standout. If he makes it all the way, I'll cry.
His votes are doing all right?
Tears will come down my face. Like, I will cry. He's kind of middling-ish.
Yeah, see, that sucks.
So it just doesn't seem the votes. It doesn't seem like the votes are there, even though with the screen time and the angel edits that he's getting, because he's just
trying to think who that reminds me of. But yeah, he's a great.
But there's no one else. There's no other really other than Haruto. Maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see Keita taking Matthew's place. I think Jay would be picked over Matthew if you had to choose.
No. Matthew would be picked over Jay.
You think so?
Him and Hanbin, they're a package deal. They've sold it that way. I think everyone loves Matthew.
I still think that Jay would I'm just saying, if it went this way, where there is only 3 G group members, I think one at least would be Japanese. But I don't know. Because you're basically predicting two Americans, North Americans, and 1 Chinese person and no Japanese people.
Well, that's what we're going
But again, I'm telling you,
K-pop
K-pop is in a different area than it was in 48, especially, and it was... And Girls Planet, it's much more, they're going for that.
Maybe swap out Jay with Haruto or Keita. If they start giving them a ton of screen time.
Right, which I wouldn't want to see. I'd rather see Jay.
No, I wouldn't. I mean,
realistically.
I'm just saying, like, if they go the angle where they're like, actually, we do maybe need a Japanese member for the Japanese audience of this team.
Yeah, but who's doing that? The audience?
If Mnet starts to say, hey,
and edit him.
I think that we need to push a Japanese member for the Japanese audience, because Kepler, like, FYI, are promoting more, like, in Japan.
Seem to be,
They're doing 2 Japan albums, and maybe are doing better there. So, like, again,
it's not a bad deal. Japan's huge. But I wouldn't be mad at that group.
That's it. That's it for this week. Please leave us in the comments your top 9 as of right now. Do you think that my predictions will be correct? Do you think I'm right?
Okay. What, Christian? What? Evil edited, or do you think he was being a little bit of a jerk? I'm just be honest. I think it was more evil editing and misunderstanding.
It's 50%. Evil editing is 50%. Not that he was being a jerk,
just not.
But he was just being more blunt than they're used to.
Yes,
in like Korea.
Chinese aren't as the Chinese society is not as like Korea polite.
On the subreddit, some folks were explaining that like oftentimes some Chinese people can come off as a little bit more, air quotes, rude, just because they speak a little bit more plainly and like blunt.
Sure, you hear the same thing.
Like you might somebody from New York in America,
yes.
like
Yes.
So it's really not. So it's a little bit of just that.
I can see that.
Okay, that's it. We will see you next Saturday.
Yay.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.